is not just a hobby, it's a superpower. And today we are unlocking the minds, the moments, and the magic behind every great book on Edo Bookshelf, which is a program designed to showcase the importance and productivity of reading culture at all levels. Because when we read, we don't just absorb facts, we build empathy, strengthen focus, and expand our mental maps. Reading connected to the world we have never seen and to part of ourselves we have never met. Edo Bookshelf, raising and projecting literary giants and informed leaders in our society. Tune in with Oseyande Idede and Chelsea Osho, live on EBS Television.
Good day, viewers. Welcome to the program, Edo Bookshelf, reaching you live from Edo Broadcasting Service Television. The program is designed to promote reading culture in our society and also to reach out to people, letting them know that they are supposed to read at all levels. In spite of race, culture, tradition, reading is something that enhances you in all ramifications. I am Chelsea Oshan. With me is
Idede Oseyande.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back in the GFA.
Showcase the importance and productivity of reading culture at all levels. Because when we read, we don't just absorb facts, we build empathy, strengthen focus, and expand our mental maps. Reading connected to the world we have never seen and to part of ourselves we have never met. Edo Bookshelf, raising and projecting literary giants and informed leaders in our society. Tune in with Oseyande Idede and Chelsea Osho, live.
Welcome back to the program, Edo Bookshelf, on Edo Broadcasting Service Television. Last week we talked about the causes of reading culture, and we said due to certain observations we've observed that they've been decline in the reading culture, whereby students no longer read their books, people they don't take reading culture something serious, maybe due to certain distractions. Some persons are so occupied with their phones, attending to one calls, one messages from different social medias, and they feel, oh, reading, I can just take my phone, I can do one or two browsing, and as a result of that, so many students are getting low grades, in the result due to low performance, and that is actually affecting the society. Because to some extent people will think that, oh, maybe reading, when they take reading so serious, maybe what's going to come out of it? At the end of the day they will tell you there's no job, people will just be going up and down with their certificate, there's no job. Some persons will even tell you our education is a scam, but it's not true. I believe that reading has a way it enhances you, because reading adds to your personality, because when you're able to read, you are informed that you'll be able to express yourself ramifications. Right now today's topic is going to be the consequences of reading culture. That is decline in the reading culture. There's consequences because every actions and inactions has its consequences, good or bad. If you don't read, of course you'll be deformed and you will not be able to express yourself to a certain level. Idede, I'm sure you agree with me on this.
Of course I do.
Reading, when you don't read and you somehow you lost, and somehow, some way you have what they call mental decadence. You'll not be able to express yourself, and it's going to affect you in so many ramifications. It's going to affect your cognitive domain. Idede, what do you say about this?
Yeah, back to this question in quotes. There is no way you would give what you don't have. Just as we say, it is what you put in, it affects your output. The era of reward we discussed last week is still very relevant today. However, there are some other issues that causes decline in reading culture, like the kind of books. Before now, we are used to foreign books. Like, for example, you are reading a foreign literature and they're telling you about pizza, they're telling you about summer, and you find out that it makes students lose interest. You are trying, because once you read, your mind is trying to picture it, you try to travel in it. And so because of those...
mental journey.
Yeah, exactly. So because of those things that you can't relate with, it becomes very difficult. And you find out that when we now have authors documenting our own stories with things that you can relate. Just take, for example, you are reading a story and it's talking about Igwe Festival. You will be interested, you will enjoy it. And then they give you a book and it's talking about some beach trips and some travels, and you have been in Benin City all your life and there is no beach in this city, and it stresses your mind. So those are some of the things that makes reading boring.
So that's all you have to tell me now. That's not the only thing that makes reading boring. But what about maybe some students, maybe they go to school and maybe they're not being accorded the kind of marks they know they actually, they were supposed to accord. There's some students who tell you, oh, I think I was supposed to have A on this subject. I wrote the test, I wrote the exam. I know how much I spent my time to read and I did well, but how come am I being given a C and I'm supposed to have an A? Don't you think that sometimes some lecturers too, they just try to see one way or the other, maybe to degrade the student marks?
You're taking us far. But let me just throw more light in that. That one is relative. Because on that aspect, now we'll not talk about it varies from lecturer to lecturer. There are some lecturers that are strictly give me what I give to you.
Okay.
They don't want to hear, oh, I consulted other books and all that. Oh, I taught you with English is Good by Chelsea Osho, and then you are referencing English is Good by Chike Obid. That's done my business and all that. So that one is a big problem. And that's what those in academics are still trying to fix. And so as a student, you must know what your lecturer wants. Like, oh, this lecturer, this is when he teaches, there are something the lecturer emphasizes. And so that gives you a picture of what to expect. Because my lecturer emphasizes on this kind of things. So if I'm answering for that lecturer, I would know that this thing that he emphasizes is where his interest lies. And so now, on the flip side, you must know your lecturer. There are some lecturers too that enjoy you going wide.
Yeah, that's
to show
true.
that, yeah, this person has
I
depth.
used to have a lecturer like that.
Yes, this person has depth. But I remember in my undergraduate days, we have a lecturer, we call him Cram the Error. If he gives you a manual, he expects you to act like a robot. As in, write that manual exactly as it is. If there is error, that's why we're not calling Cram the Error. If there is error, you correct that error in his manual, he will fail you in the exam.
Goodness.
Because it was that bad. So that's why I say you are taking us far. Because if we go into that topic, we will not live here.
All right, my amazing viewers, you're still on to the program, Edo Bookshelf. Like I said, the topic for discussion today is consequences in the decline of reading culture. I want you to know that when you don't read, you're actually doing something not positive to yourself. It's going to affect your cognitive domain, and you'll not be able to express yourself to some certain levels. And if you're a student out there, you're not reading your books, and you just think, oh, you're going to pass your exams, maybe you're going to think of blocking or one way or the other, you're not doing yourself any good, because when you go to the labor market out there, you're going to face some certain challenges, and people will not be happy with you. The society will not be happy with you. Just like a book I reviewed last week, which is titled Fake Doctor. That was just a practical example of someone who doesn't read his or her book. Stay tuned. We'll be right back in the GFE. When we come back, Idede is going to be reviewing two books, comparing two books on physics. Stay tuned. Don't go away.
Reading is not just a hobby, it's a superpower. And today we are unlocking the minds, the moments, and the magic behind every great book on Edo Bookshelf, which is a program designed to showcase the importance and productivity of reading culture at all levels. Because when we read, we don't just absorb facts, we build empathy, strengthen focus, and expand our mental maps. Reading connected to the world we have never seen and to part of ourselves we have never met. Edo Bookshelf, raising and projecting literary giants. Reading is not just a hobby, it's a superpower. And today we are unlocking the minds, the moments, and the magic behind every great book on Edo Bookshelf, which is a program designed to showcase the importance and productivity of reading culture at all levels. Because when we read, we don't just absorb facts, we build empathy, strengthen focus, and expand our mental maps. Reading connected to the world we have never seen and to part of ourselves we have never met. Edo Bookshelf, raising and projecting literary giants and informed leaders in our society. Tune in with Oseyande Idede and Chelsea Osho live on EBS Television.
Welcome back. This segment we want to review physics textbook. Prior to the 80s, or the 1970s, the common physics textbooks we had in Nigeria curriculum was Nelson and Parker. And if you are conversant with our academic history, you will find out that so many science students had challenges passing that course, physics. And as we drifted towards the early 90s, some Nigerian authors, prominent among such were P.N. Okeke and Anyakoa. They did what we now know as New School Physics. That was a big break in our academic journey. So over time, I had to sit down and check those books, like what actually happened. Is it that our progenitors, our elders, is it that they were dull? I don't think so. So when I took those textbooks, my elder brother happened to use one of those textbooks. And then you now find out that the context, the way the books was written, the way the books was being explained, and then the pictures, the diagrams, the ideas, the way it was being conveyed was strange to our pattern of thinking, was strange to our mode of life. And the explanations given there were abstract to us. And so that was why those that used it as at that time, they were actually doing double journey. What I call double journey in the sense that, first and foremost, before they go into the science of it, they have to first of all localize it to understand the concept of what Nelson and Parker was trying to drive home. And so when Pierre Okeke and Anyakoa now took over, reviewed those physics textbooks that was mainly from foreign countries, they were able to domesticate it and explain it in a way that fits into our psychological well-being as Africans and as Nigerians in particular. I, for example, I'm the generation that used Pierre Okeke. And so when we started using Pierre Okeke, the question now is, what happened to our elders? What was in this physics that they were struggling to pass? What was in this physics? Because most of my generation people, that's when we started doing WAEC, you write it once, and then you write NECO, you write it once. So all those that were writing GC and wrote physics multiple times, what was the challenge? Not necessarily because they were dull or they were not prepared. Actually, those elders, they spent more time on their books than this present day generation. But ideas have increased. The content, the way it is being addressed, the way the book is being presented, the way it is, the analogies were something you can relate with. I like to use literature, for example. When in our early literature, when you hear about the likes of Shakespeare, you read Shakespeare, and then you read Shakespeare's stories, you read some of his use of language, the diction. You find it that someone that has stayed in Benin all his life, you will find it difficult. You find it difficult to perfectly relate with those languages. And so people tend to say, they hate literature because they could not comprehend the diction and the mode of writing that Shakespeare brought to book. However, when the likes of our sage of blessed memory, Chinua Achebe, came on board, they were able to relate our African stories in a way that you will enjoy it. Just take, for example, when you look the books like our African authors, like when you read the books like Eze Goes to School, and then you read books like African Night Entertainment, you read books like The Concubine, you find out that we now started enjoying our stories because you are reading something that is telling you about an African festival, a festival that you know, not somebody telling you of one summer event that is going on in the US that you have never been. And so those things created a shift in why people tend to like books or hate books. So when you give books to students that are abstract, it is very, very difficult. So authors has a role to play in making people like books or hate books. That's the purpose of this review, and I think Chelsea Osho would agree with me on that. He has been smiling.
Oh yes, of course. Said authors have a way, of actually packaging their books in a way to be pleasing to the students. Is it all authors that has that dexterity to do that?
Of course, not all authors have the dexterity to do that. That's why those saddled with the responsibility as administrators should focus on that. I don't want to talk more about myself. That's why I try to use other people. Take, for example, one of my first fiction that I wrote, Worry Not, They Carry Last. There are persons, because I came from a science domain, I read engineering. So most of my friends, most of my circle, they are science students. So when I wrote that book, and then they started hearing things like, since I was born, I have never finished a literature textbook. Like no matter how small it is, but Worry Not, They Carry Last, about over 200 pages. Like I could not just drop it. Why? If you read the book, you really cannot drop it.
Okay, because there are a lot of exciting and interesting elements that captivate your attention.
The Nigerianness in the book, you can put yourself in the picture as if you are acting it. You can see yourself living the stories in it. So those are the things that makes book interesting. Some months ago, I was also privileged to be in the stakeholders meeting for authors and publishers in the state. The Commissioner of Education was there. And a lady also raised an opinion on this matter, that we should focus on the authors. You are saying students don't read. You should also focus on
the authors, yes.
The authors.
The authors has a role to play too.
The authors should know how to package the books in a way that it should be interesting.
And appealing.
Take, for example, I myself, because of the moral perspective I like to drive when I write my books, I did not start as a fiction writer. I started as a motivational writer, and then you share it online, people don't even read. So people will tell you that this thing is too long and all that. But I have a message to pass. I have to walk around it. So when I tried to put in a little of comedy, I saw that it worked. People started, the reactions increased. So that was when I now sat down and drafted that same moral lesson in Wobin or the Carry Last. So I was able to convey the message, and then people got to it. I don't know if you have also gone online, you got this, I think it's an American teacher that teaches mathematics with dancing. And they say, they come to the class.
You just want to attract the students.
Exactly. They dance.
So they can get interested, get excited.
Then he tells them, he tries to put mathematical formula into the whole dance. I tell you that, you see this dancing stuff now, there's a way you can prove it. And so the student that
it's like a bait you're using to catch a fish.
You are there. You are there. So you see that student that ordinarily say, oh, I hate mathematics, they will come to the class first because they want to come and dance. And then from that dance, the teacher gives you a perfect platform for which.
And then you find yourself in the page.
You drive yourself.
Just like in the field of literature, I discovered that some poets, they just write poems, they don't translate, but they have forgotten that poem, it's a construction that has to do with concrete language, dense language. They just write, I don't know whether they're so much in a hurry because they just want to publish, they just write, they don't translate. Like in my first book I published, which is titled The Night of Gravity, it's a collection of poems with literary devices and idioms. All the poems are translated in literal forms. The reason why I did so, because I understand that it's not everybody in the streets that understand the poetic dense concrete language, so it will be easy for both the teacher and the students. All right, amazing viewers, I hope you're having a nice time with us in this program, Edo Bookshelf, coming to you live from Edo Broadcasting Service Television. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Because when we read, we don't just absorb facts, we build empathy, strengthen focus, and expand our mental maps. Reading connected to the world we have never seen and to part of ourselves we have never met. Edo Bookshelf, raising and projecting literary giants and informed leaders in our society. Tune in with Oseyande Idede and Chelsea Osho, live on EBS Television. Reading is not just a hobby, it's a superpower. And today we're unlocking the minds, the moments, and the magic behind every great book on Edo Bookshelf, which is a program designed to showcase the importance and productivity of reading culture at all levels. Because when we read, we don't just absorb facts, we build empathy, strengthen focus, and expand our mental maps.
All right, still on the topic, consequences of decline in the reading culture. I think one of the factors that I think it could be very responsible for the consequences of decline in the reading culture is some books, that lack, rich content, because some authors, I don't know, like I said, some authors, maybe they're in a rush, they just write like those ones in the literary angle, the literature angle, they write poems and other poetic, dense language. They don't just, translate what it means. And sometimes some publishers, they just write the way they just want to write. They don't care to know if there should be a space in a textbook whereby it's going to give an extra elucidation of that content. I don't know if you agree with me on that.
Of course I
for
do.
Content.
And another thing again is, I don't know what to use, I don't need to be right for me to say is greed. Because some persons just because they have access to powers that be. You know that, if I put in this thing, it will fly.
Yeah.
They will approve it. I will make money. So their focus is not legacy.
So are you indirectly saying that the powers that be also have a fault in the process?
Our administrators cannot do well, definitely be faulted. You cannot look okay, let's sit back and compare those people that stood out and are still standing out. Chinua Achebe, for example.
Yeah.
Look at the series of books he wrote. He does not even need to lobby you.
What about Professor Wole Soyinka?
I'm still coming there. They don't even need to lobby you for you to approve it. Because they put in everything. When you see the book, you see standards. Wole Soyinka is another one of them. Alechi Amadi, those men they've gone now. Those persons, they are one of such. And another person following that line now, the likes of Chimamanda Adichie. You might not even approve the book, but is there, is their legacy.
And there's some certain books that when you go through them, those books have approved themselves by themselves, even before they get to the corridors of power.
That's what happened to Purple Hibiscus. That's what happened to Purple Hibiscus. She did not lobby for it. When Late Chinua Achebe saw the book, in his recommendation, he said Chimamanda Adichie came almost complete. That means to say, she has not even gone through training. Her work is almost near perfect. And so you find out that authors should come with a mindset to do something. P.N. Okeke, for example, the book I reviewed, P.N. Okeke did not come because he just wanted to enter the market. Because of the academic people saw what he brought in, he broke down physics. Not too long ago on social media, people just started praising him that if you pass physics and you use P.N. Okeke, come, let's celebrate this man. Because our project, those that came before us, were not that privileged. So authors has a role to play, but because when authors are driven by profit, that's why I said administrators.
That's why I also said that they're always in the hurry. Exactly. They just want to write quickly. And
the administrators will not be the one to do the checkmating, to check the books.
Maybe a book that should take them for like 3 years. They want to use a year and 2 months.
Exactly. They check the book, check the content. And another thing again that which also affects reading culture, which I want us to address in this episode, is passion.
Yeah, passion is number one. If you don't have passion, you can't excel, and you will not be able to deliver what will impact the audience, the society, the students.
Both as students and as adults.
Yeah.
Like when I was growing up, they will always remind me to read my book.
Yes.
Because I was in sciences. I did not.
Who are those reminding you, if I may ask you?
My
They're your parents. You know the reason why they always remind you? Because they don't say their bookworm.
They will always
there are some parents, they don't have the time. They just have to want to make money.
They will always remind me to read my book. But immediately, I drifted from engineering and faced what I loved. You need to see my book library. Now my dad will come and tell you that you have been reading all day. It's okay. I said, well, you were pushing me to read before. Because that time I was not having passion in that sciences.
Yeah.
But now that I have what I like. So parents should just look at your child.
It came natural.
Look at the books that this child likes to pick on his own, on her own, and encourage the child to follow that path. That's where the child will be able to excel.
That's right. The whites are very good at that. Once they have a child and they notice that child is also always in the habit of, coupling some certain knowledge, they're like, oh, this child will be good in engineering. This child will be very good technician.
But us, that's where orientation comes in. But like one of my pastor will say, he said the father went to the man will just go to the hospital, and then a doctor messes you up, a young doctor. You just come home and say, Agbuka, you must be a medical doctor. And those things affects the child. The child might not have passion for it.
All right, thank you, Dede, for your explanation. All right, my amazing viewers, this is the program, Edo Bookshelf. I hope you've been having a nice time with us on the program. The topic has been consequences on the decline of reading culture. If you are a parent out there, you have children, as a student, please do the right thing at the right time. Don't sit back and say, oh, they are big boys, they're big girls, they can take care of themselves. No, you still have a role to play. And as an author, you're writing books. Oh, goodness, please. Make sure what you're writing is something that is adequate enough, something that's going to bring positive into the life of the student that are reading your books. And don't be so much in a rush because you're going to make money. No. Sit back and think properly. If you know the book is going to take you 3 years to write, be patient. Take it at one at a time. And at the end of the day, you'll be glad you did. I am Chelsea Oshoan. Who's been with me is
Sayande Ididi.
Edo Bookshelf.
Keep
reading.
Reading is not just a hobby, it's a superpower. And today we are unlocking the minds, the moments, and the magic behind every great book on Edo Bookshelf, which is a program designed to showcase the importance and productivity of reading culture at all levels. Because when we read, we don't just absorb facts, we build empathy, strengthen focus, and expand our mental maps. Reading connected to the world we have never seen and to part of ourselves we have never met. Edo Bookshelf, raising and projecting literary giants and informed leaders in our society. Tune in with Oseyande Idede and Chelsea Oshoan.